This guy seems to be acting as the poster boy as to why I can't shake this internal feeling that I'm a traumatised sheep stuck inside a lion's den. He opens up just the way I imagined he would, by telling us all about his countless accolades and previous appearances at sell-out venues. And as I take a quick glance around the hall, it's visibly clear to me that each person here is salivating with every self-indulgent word which spews out from his privileged mouth. I know a lot of you are just starting out on your writing career, he says, but just remember one important thing. Your first commission is likely to be no more than £5,000. But don't worry, eventually you still start to make real money. Jesus fucking Christ, I tell myself. It really is bums like him who make me yearn for the days when the upper classes lived in fear of the common man. Does this toff realise he's addressing somebody whose last house search was spent on the camping section at the Argos website? And as a result, in my head I'm screaming, I would give a vital organ for £5,000, Dafty. My nephew made more money working a paper round last summer than I did with my writing. Though, of course, I didn't scream anything. I just sit there smiling and applaud back at him along with the rest of these performance seals. We'd now like to ask Callum to step up, he says. This is the moment I've been trying to forget all day. My first public reading. In a room full of folk, it's kind of surprising that I've never felt more alone in my life than I do right now. As I'm stood there gawping into the sea at Edinburgh's self-proclaimed elite, I suddenly realised that what I'm about to read might just empty the fucking room. But with this in mind, it somehow brings about a sense of bravado, and I soon decide to just go for it. This monologue's called Boris Johnson, I tell them. No Boris Johnson, Boris John Stone. It's about how that Tory piece in Downing Street hates folk who talk like me. I hope you enjoy it. There was a hesitant and reluctant round of applause after my introduction before I sharply wire in. They want blood. My head on a platter. And nothing I say or do will appease the bastards either. The great British public just didn't give a fuck. You'd have thought I'd ate the fucking bat myself. This opening surprisingly draws a chorus of sniggers that echo throughout the crowd, and the reactions help me to compose my unsteady legs long enough to continue on reading my story. It's actually bogging the way they speak about me. I've had old-age pensioners joining Twitter for the sole purpose of tweeting what a vile evil cunt I am. And when I was in the hospital, I even had an actress going on telly wishing me death, for which she was universally congratulated for having the balls to say the right thing. My own wife turned round to me and told me that she'd admired the woman's passion and honesty. The Chinese motherfuckers. Economy booming street parties every other day. The WHO constantly praising them for their conduct ever since the fucking outbreak did begin. It was them who started it, for fuck's sake. My mouth feels drier than a pavement on a hot summer's day, and my anxiety-induced body feels numb with increasing nerves. But the laughter in the room is apparently contagious. They actually think what I'm reading is funny. Anyway, I continue on. Matt tried to reassure me at yesterday's Cobra meeting that it'll all blare once the vaccines get developed. Tells me to just relax and no get too worked up about the situation. But this is the same boy who practically begged me to ban him and the rest of the cabinet for appearing on Good Morning Britain. He's so scary, he said. He shouts at me and demands answers I don't have. The brass neck of the bastard telling me to calm down. Honestly, I could have punched his cunting right there and then. This wee segment is met with silence, maybe laughter, and it's as if I can feel all their eyes judging me at the same time. It's too late to back out now though, I decide, and so with an air of caution, I duly press ahead towards the conclusion of the reading. And then there's the supreme leader of the Tartan Mafia, that Nicola Sturgeon cow, taking every opportunity that comes her way to upstage me. She struts on the podium pretending to hate all the answers, whilst the media and public alike lovingly eat up her words like a fat bairn in a sweetie shop. Whereas when I come on stage, they have me down as a clueless honey monster who couldn't lace her bits. When she says she's been guided by the science, all you see an array of understanding, nodding heads. But when I say the same thing, then I'm nothing but a lying, gibbering arsehole. But like I've said for day in, She kens fuck all about real leadership. I mean, where's her contempt for the common man, eh? Where's the disdain? She talks about the peasants like they matter. Her dishonesty is absolutely reprehensible. The closer I'm getting to the finishing line, the more my ears has started to squeak and I'm in real danger of suffering from stage fright. The crowd, it seems, has went for a few sincere laughs to a deed sounding nothing. And just when I thought things couldn't get any more depressing, here I am, eh? I mean, no doubt you've probably already noticed, but I've started speaking in a horrible Scottish accent. Woke up this morning next to the wife, and when she asked me to put the bedside light on, I was like, "You've got fucking arms, have you no?" She shat herself with that, I swear. Thought some dirty sweaty jock had done away with me during the night and crawled up next to her. But when she realised it was actually me who was speaking, she started to laugh. She thought I was playing some kind of perverse joke on her, which couldn't have been further from the truth. And now we've since decided between the pair of us that it must be the stress of everything that's been happening. Or maybe even a new symptom of the virus itself. Fuck knows, But what I do ken for sure is I'm self-isolating until my beautiful English mother tongue starts working again. Only the wife can ken about this. Nobody else, ever. So I just wrote an email to the press office. I explained to them how they should tell the world I'd nipped round to my sister-in-law's the other night and she texted me to say she's tested positive. And that nobody for the cabinet or the rest of the outside world gets to see or speak to me under any circumstance. Until such times when I tell them they can. Actually, can what? Maybe using the sister-in-law as my close contact wasn't a good idea. They'll probably say I must have been shagging her. Smashing. With the last word of the monologue, I feel as if I've just taken my first breath. I look up for the stage and all I can see about is disgruntled looking pusses. Then, just as I'm about to run off straight out the building and bubbling like a school bairn, a boy in the centre row stands up and starts clapping. An act of kindness which somehow sets off a chain reaction. But that, I guess, is the hang when it comes to middle class audiences. If none of them clap, then they all soon follow. Saying that, whatever their reasons, in that moment they didn't half make me feel good. That boy Sebastian, who introduced me earlier, comes wandering towards me and to my surprise is clapping my performance too. That was a really interesting piece you just read, Callum. Tell us what inspired such a thought-provoking piece of writing. I smile. It was inspired by my hatred for Boris Johnson and, of course, my own personal loathing for the Tories. Sebastian stares wary into my eyes before he bursts into a high-pitched fit of hysterical laughter. An action that quickly spreads through my spectators who join him in laughing at my comment. And then I hear a familiar voice hysterically chuckling and the boy's voice says, "That's classic Callum." Said voice is Henry, who I was chatting to earlier at this event, and nobody seems to be taking my remarks seriously, going with the way they're all laughing. But I was being serious, deadly fucking serious. As I make my way back to my seat, I can't help but think that I've played all these posh cunts at their home ground and actually won. My mouth might have nae saliva left and my heart is still racing uncontrollably, but I'm telling you, this is the best I've felt in a long time.